good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is happy and healthy. This happens to be the last new content that you will learn for the rest of this school year. Have a little party. You will have a quiz and then you will have your final. So next week there will be a series of opportunities for you to improve your grades on your Unit 6 and Unit 7 test. That you can sign up for review times. You can just review with me, but and then your final is that final week. You'll need to make sure you set aside some time after Memorial Day to take your final for class. So that's what's going on. I hope you are all well. I hope you are all happy. I have had so much more student involvement this week, and I think maybe it's because all the grades are posted and you're freaking out, and that's okay. Just want to keep in mind that you got to get the work done. So let's keep working hard. Let's keep rolling. So today we are adding rational expressions or subtracting rational expressions. Now, I'm going to first talk very briefly about fractions. So, just like I did before with multiplying. If I had 1/2 plus 3/2, because the denominators are the same, the way I used to teach my 7th graders, because, well, they struggled with fractions all the time. It was tic-tac-toe, 3 denominators in a row. So kind of think about that as you're doing this. Tic-tac-toe, 3 denominators in a row. And they have to all be the same. And then you can just add across the top. Now, there's this thing called the butterfly method. And I found it worked really, really well. And in fact, when I started teaching Algebra 2, that's what I was doing every time when I was doing these problems. But I'm realizing that we don't really have that much time. So let's just go with the tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe, 3 denominators in a row. And then you add across the top. What happens if the denominators are not the same though? So let's say I've got 1/2 plus 2/3. Well, I can't go tic-tac-toe because my denominators are not the same. And I cannot just add 2 plus 3 to get 5. This is when I have to make both of my denominators the same. So this is when I'm going to teach you the butterfly method. So what we did was we would multiply straight up. We would multiply 2 times 2 and get 4. We would multiply 3 times 1 and get 3. Now, if we were to add our butterfly body, so we've got our wings, here's the body. Oh, I did a really bad body. I know what I'm doing. Okay. There we go. What goes in the head of the body is the operator. The operator comes straight up. What goes in the booty is we still have to multiply the bottom. So we do 3 multiplication problems. We multiply the denominator times the numerator times the numerator, and then we multiply both of the denominators. Okay, so this number becomes our new denominator. And then you can add straight across. And the same thing happens with subtraction. Okay. given this information. Let's apply this to Algebra 2. Okay. So it says tic-tac-toe, 3 denominators in a row. Come on, zoom in. There we go. Much easier to see those. Okay. So, tic-tac-toe, 3 denominators in a row. This one's super easy. Denominator stays the same. And we simply add the top. 4 plus 5 is 9. This is the easiest kind of example. Okay. Tic-tac-toe, 3 denominators in a row. So the denominator stays the same. Now, if I were to do 2x minus y, put it in parentheses, minus 4x plus 3y. What I have to notice about this is that the subtraction applies to both the 4x and the 3y. So this is the same thing as 2x minus y minus 4x minus 3y. Then I put my x's together. So I'm going to put my 2x and my negative 4x together. And I have to ask ourselves, are the signs the same or different? Different, add or subtract? Subtract, that is going to be a negative, and 4 minus 2 is 2x. And then I'm going to put my y's together. Negative and a negative. Are my signs the same or different? They are the same, so I'm going to add them. Technically, this is 1y. 1 plus 3 is 4. I have a negative 4y. That's how we do it. That's how we roll. So you've got to remember when you're subtracting that these are in parentheses. You have to remember that when you're subtracting, you are distributing to both parts. You have to remember the rules of integers. And if you can't remember the rules of integers, please use a calculator. Remember, you're always going to put your x's with your x's and your y's with your y's. Okay, so this is when there's like denominators. What happens when there are unlike denominators? So when there's unlike denominators, remember I said you're going to multiply. We're going to do the butterfly. Okay, so you are going to multiply 5 times x minus 3. You're going to distribute. So this is going to give you 5x minus 15. And then you're going to do the other wing of the butterfly, which is going to be 3 times x plus 2. Distribute. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is a positive 6. Multiply the bottom. So remember, there's 3 multiplications happening. But what's nice about these kind of problems, you really don't have to multiply this out. Sometimes the answers are going to look that way, but they are perfectly valid if you just leave the answer factored out. And the reason becomes clear sometimes when everything's all said and done, sometimes leaving it factored out will allow you to cross cancel and simplify. Okay, so we have, remember the red one goes here. So remembering that you're always going up the wings is important. So this becomes 3x plus 6 minus 5x minus 15. So just like the other kind of problems, you have to remember that this is inside parentheses. And so is this. And so you have to distribute the negative to both of them. So you have 3x plus 6. Distribute your negative. So minus 5x, and a negative times a negative is a positive, plus 15. Okay, then we put our x's together and our numbers together. So box my 3x, box my negative 5. Are my signs the same or different? They are different. Do I add or subtract? I subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. Positive or negative 2? It is a negative 2. So it is a negative 2x. And 6 and 15, are the signs the same or different? They're the same. Add or subtract. I add. 6 plus 15 is a positive 21. Okay. Could I factor something out of there? No. Should I check that? Absolutely. And we're done. Yes, there are a lot of parts to this problem. Okay, question B. So the first thing I want to do is factor that 9x squared. Now, I could just skip that step and do exactly what I did with question A, but there are some benefits to this. I can tell you that 9x squared is the same thing as 3 times 3 times x times x. And you should be able to see that there's the same thing as 3x times 3x. Oh wait, look, there's one 3x here. That means instead of multiplying using the butterfly method, if I were thinking about making common denominators, I just multiply or try and find the greatest common factor, or the least common multiple. So instead of doing extra multiplication, I really just need to multiply this fraction by the same factor at the bottom, which means it needs to have a 3x as well. So we have a 3x at the bottom and a 3x at the top. And I don't have to do anything with this one. So we're going to leave our x minus 4 and our 9x squared by itself. Okay, 3x times 5, 3 times 5 is 15. X And then we have our same denominator, 9x squared on the bottom. Tic-tac-toe, 3 denominators in a row. Then we have 15x plus x minus 4. I can put my 15 and my x together. That gives me 16x minus 4. I could factor a 4 out of here, but that doesn't help me because there's no 4 as a factor in the denominator. I keep putting 3. I mean to be putting 9. 9x squared. Okay. There are a couple more examples. Oh, on this, could you have done the butterfly method? Because it makes sense. Absolutely. Let me go through that. In fact, if you use the butterfly method for this, there's one extra step. So let's show. We have 3x times, times x minus 4. Distribute. Let's leave out and see what happens. And then we have 9x squared times 5. So here's this. Let's do our second color, which is 45x squared. So we have 45x squared plus our 3x times x minus 4. Can we factor out anything out of here? Yes. This becomes a 3x that we can factor out times 9x squared. Nope. Times 15x squared, sorry. And so you can see that very quickly, and our denominator becomes 3x times 9x squared. We have a common factor, an extra factor of 3x that we can take out of everything. That leaves us with 15x squared plus x minus 4 over 9x squared, which is the exact same answer that we got before. It's going to be 9x, sorry. I'm having a rough day. I'm so sorry. Okay. Let's go to the next examples. Last two. Okay. So again, I find it best to butterfly. This is going to be 6 times x plus 4. That'll give us 6x plus 24. We're going to, I should have done that in a different color. Multiply these two. So we have x minus 1 and x plus 3. And yes, we have to FOIL on this. So first is x squared Outside is 3x. Inside is a negative x. And last is a negative 3. And we have a positive 3 and a negative x. That gives us x squared plus 2x minus 3. Remember, this is subtracting. So we have to put that inside parentheses, and everything is going to change its sign. And then don't forget, our denominator then becomes, so our answer is going to be 6x plus 24 minus x squared minus 2x plus 3 over x minus 1, x plus 4. Now we're not quite done because we need to simplify the numerator still. We need to put our 6x with our negative 2x, which gives us a 4x. And then we have to put our positive 24 and our positive 3 together, which gives us a positive 27. And I'm in my head right now thinking, can the numerator be factored? So I know factors of 27 are 9 and 3. 9 and 3 cannot be put together in order to get a 4. So I can leave it just like it is. If your answer choices don't look like this, you may need to FOIL the denominator. All right, last one. Okay, so we're going to do this, which is 4x times x plus 2, distribute, so that leaves us with 4x squared plus 8x. Then butterfly the other wings, which is 3 times 3x minus 5. Distribute. 3 times 3x is 9x, and it's a plus sign, so I can just keep writing. 9x, and 3 times negative 5 is a negative 15. And don't forget to multiply the denominators. So 3 times x plus 2. This becomes 4x squared plus 17x. Oh, that's really bad. Look like a ancient pi sign. Minus 15. Over 3 times x plus 2. Now, in reality, I'm kung fuing in my head. So remember, when we kung fu, we multiply a times the 15 and we factor that. Oh. All right. We're going to leave that as our answer. Okay. So there's practice, there's a quiz, Do your best. I miss you all. I hope you are happy and healthy. Do not forget to do the attendance, and I will talk to you soon.